Welcome to the Chasing Ebenezer Show. This is a show where we talk about stuff, play you some music, and encourage you to be creative. This season, we are exploring the art of being human. We want to say thank you to our patrons who support us each month. If you want to know more about that, visit us on patreon.com/Chasing Ebenezer. For more information about our musical endeavors, visit chasingebenezer.com. We hope you enjoy the show.
Well, welcome back to the Chasing Ebenezer Show. I'm Heidi, and this is Benjamin, and thanks for tuning in. We hope that what we talk about today will inspire you to be creative and be very comfortable with the fact that you're a human being, and you don't have to be perfect. And we're not going to be perfect, so welcome.
Let's breathe a sigh of relief over that not needing to be perfect. Yeah, I want to say thank you to our patrons who have been supporting us each month. Thank you so very much. I'll just jump right into what I'm excited about. I'm excited because last month I did an instrumental demo, and I really like making instrumental music, and I love that I get to do that for our patrons, and I'm planning on doing another instrumental this month, and I'm actually excited about that. I'm always excited about a new project because it has so much possibility.
Finishing old projects.
Next week I'm going to be crying because the reality is going to hit, and I'm just going to be all sad. But I'm excited about that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Cool. So thank you. Oh yeah. Well, I have
You're
this new
excited
lip
about?
gloss. Okay. I want you to smell it.
Okay.
You probably don't. You aren't gonna let me put it on you, right?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Smell it. What does it smell like?
Play-Doh. It smells like Play-Doh.
Well.
And I like the smell of Play-Doh.
Well, now that you say that, it does.
It does, doesn't it?
But it is not. When you put it on, it tastes like a sugar cookie. It's a vanilla dew.
Now here's the most important question I want to ask you. Did you eat Play-Doh as a kid?
No.
Okay.
No way.
Because my next question was going to be, did it taste like a sugar cookie when you put it in your mouth?
Well, I did not think that it tasted like Play-Doh. I thought it tastes like a sugar cookie. So
Anyway,
who knows? And I'm almost done with this painting.
I
like this one a lot.
I love everything you do, but I really like this painting.
This is like an abstract violin paint chip art thing. If you're interested in it, let me know. So I am trying to finish things faster and do better planning for paintings. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Oh, and I had one other thing, but then I forgot what it was.
Well, if you remember it, that's
if I remember it, there's always another episode to be excited about it.
That's true. Feeling our humanity. How are you feeling your humanity?
Well, apparently I think that sugar cookies taste like Play-Doh, or vice versa. I even thought about this too, and now I forgot what it was. Go ahead, because I forgot.
Well, I got 2 shots yesterday, and I realized I realized I was an adult. Because as a kid, I was terrified of getting shots. Like, shots were used as a threat by doctors to get me to sit still. Okay? But
what kind of doctors were you seeing? They said sit still or give you a shot?
Well, I had to get a CAT scan when I was a kid, and they were like, well, if you move, we'll give you a shot.
That's terrible.
I agree it was terrible.
Horrible.
But it was also the 80s, so who knows? But I realized I was an adult yesterday because I was very excited to get my flu shot and my COVID booster yesterday. I was so excited about it. And today, my arms feel like they got punched really hard and my muscles are sore. And I'm just feeling a little slower than usual. So, yeah.
Well, I feel like I've experienced in the last week, I've been like envious, I've been angry, I've been sad. I am feeling a little bit sore from the shots too. So it just feels like a well-rounded human experience for better or for worse. That they're So
you had a whole range.
I always do. So
I will say one of the things I appreciate about you is that you do fully. Well, I appreciate them about you in hindsight.
Right,
I appreciate that you do feel the full range of human emotions. You feel joy
Yep.
and you feel sadness.
Yep.
Almost equally.
Yep. And often at the same time.
You can feel love and you can feel anger all at the time. And that's not me being passive aggressive, but I appreciate that you're able to do that. So that's good. It's good that you do that.
Punky's coming on over.
She might make an appearance, but we never know. Or you might hear her because she likes to grab her stuffed animals when we're recording things and start yowling at them. So we're not going to cut it out. You're just going to have to enjoy it because we get to enjoy it. So today's episode, we're going to be doing like a little kind of three-part series. It's connected to the art of being human, but we're going to be talking about time, past, present, and future. And
ooh, sounds like Ebenezer Scrooge.
I know. And Christmas is coming up. That's true. Oh, wow. But we're going to talk about past today, the past, particularly about nostalgia, because nostalgia is it's almost trendy now. Have you noticed that? Like, there's fashion things that are coming back. Stranger Things was such a nostalgia thing because it was like capturing the 80s and the whole, in my opinion, the Stephen King era of things. So anyway.
Well, I was really excited because last night, it was Halloween. We're recording this, it was Halloween yesterday. And my mom was just so great at making costumes. So I always miss her on Halloween for that reason, or many reasons. But so I decided to put on the Goldberg, some old episodes. If you've ever seen the Goldberg,
that show is fantastic. It's so good.
Kind of like the Wonder Years, but the 80s. And there's the show reminds me about my mom. And then I'm watching it, and the mom has on the same neon pink, green and lime, like yellowy fanny pack that my sister and I used to wear. It's like the exact same fanny pack. And I've never quite understood. Oh, come on over. Okay. I've never quite understood, like, why is it called a fanny pack? Because it's like on your pooch here. Like you don't wear it on your behind. You wear it like right here. Well, nowadays we're like kind of, I have one now. We kind of wear it as like over the shoulder now. We've come up with new ways to not call them fanny packs anymore.
And it's funny because fanny packs, they go in and out of style.
Right.
And we all have those people that we know in our life that they never left.
So they are in style all the time. Like, you've just stayed even, so I love that. By the way, the things that I don't know, I didn't realize how fanny was spelled.
I might not either. How?
I thought it was a PH, but it's an F. I didn't know. I don't know. Like, your fanny pack. I don't know. I just found out. Yeah. It's with an F, guys. I didn't know. Oh, we could just do a whole show on the things that Heidi doesn't know. The things that I don't know. So.
Wow.
So yes, nostalgia is what it is. It can be good and it can be bad and somewhere in between.
So let me ask you this.
Tell me.
What is your favorite time of life? It could be your favorite decade, favorite cultural age,
Which decade? Not that I've lived, but I enjoy. Like.
Sure, you can either one.
I really enjoy, for me personally, living like where I'm at.
You like this time period?
Yeah, I tend to just be like right now.
Okay.
And then I don't tend to I wish I could go back and do things differently.
Sure.
But I don't tend to want to go back and live in another decade. But I would say that I dress like I'm from the 70s, probably late 60s, 70s, probably. That's what I'm told.
Yeah. You're bohemian, so that's
yeah. But is that the nice way of saying thrift store?
No, that's not at all what I was trying to say.
But I love the 20s. Mm-hmm. There's something about the 20s that I just love. My book that I think I'm in the final editing stage before I've been saying that for years, but I really am this next week, and I'm just getting ready. But that's written in the 20s. I love. There's something about that time period, but once again, that's an example of, I think we we romanticized
Sure.
the 20s.
Sure.
And that the 20s were a reaction to the World War One. Like, we've had this horrible time, and now we're just, but there was a lot of bad stuff that happened in the 20s. But we love the clothes and the Great Gatsby, you know. But if you actually read the whole Great Gatsby and you finish the whole movie, it's not all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is there's things to love, but there's never been a perfect time in history. So
what was that movie that we like with Owen Wilson?
Midnight in Paris.
Midnight in Paris.
Yes, love that
That's
movie.
a great movie about nostalgia.
Right. Yeah, you're totally right. Great.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
And how like everybody wishes for a different age.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't tend to romanticize about wishing I lived in a different era.
But we know your favorite decade.
No, my favorite decade is the 90s. Hands down. And I was trying to think through like what were some favorite Hallmark years for me in the 90s that might have contributed, because we all have reasons why we resonate with a different age. Like for you is the clothes. I know for me, I think there were good things about that decade for me. I remember Friday night watching The X-Files with my dad. And I still love The X-Files. It is still one of my favorite shows. It's weird, and it's starting to show that it was made in a different decade now, but I love it.
We also, little Gillian Anderson may or may not have been a favorite.
Yes, I'll admit it. And I really liked the clothes. I liked.
The clothes.
I do. I am so glad that grunge is coming back. I liked alternative rock. I liked all the stuff. I loved it, and I was really grateful to kind of live in that time. And I think because I was looking through like because there's a lot of years that I wasn't happy in the 90s. High school.
Well, you were a teenager, so yeah.
So of course.
But
there were 2 years that I remember feeling okay. And I think the end of 8th grade for me, which was like 1996, I felt okay because I was okay with being different. I decided that I wanted to do with my life at that time, and I felt like I didn't have to fit in with anyone.
That's good.
So, and then I remember feeling that exact same way in my senior year in high school. It was like it was that feeling of I don't have to be like everyone else. And there was a level of being okay with who I was. So I think maybe that's part of the reason why also I look back and that was a time where I can pinpoint feeling okay in my own skin.
Also, was it 95 or 96? Like our favorite blockbuster movie, was it 95 or 96?
I want to say it was 1996.
I think it was 96, but you can fact check it. It was Mission Impossible, the first.
No, it was 90. No. I'm pretty sure because Speed was in 95. I remember that, or 94. You can fact check.
Anyway, mid-90s. There was the one summer that Mission Impossible and Independence Day.
Twister came out then.
That was a favorite.
Die Hard with a Vengeance, the third Die Hard, which you know what? I have to say this. Die Hard 1 was fantastic. I almost like Die Hard 3 better for so many reasons.
So it was kind of your.
So I still long for those days, miss those days. What is it, do you think, about nostalgia that is healthy, and why do you think it is kind of like popped? It feels like it's more even fashionable now.
Well, I think there's specific decades that are more fashionable now.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say nostalgia is necessarily a new thing.
No.
But I think
you're right.
I think that wait, what was the question?
Why do you think people are like really embracing that whole idea of like things being the past, retro, those things that we know are nostalgic? It feels like.
Why do people do that?
Yeah.
Well, that's a great question. Why do you think it out there? I think it's really easy to be discontent and to idealize the past and for some reason we as people can forget the negative easily. Well, it feels like we do one or the other. We either remember the negative or we forget the negative,
Right.
and we remember the positive. So we can kind of twist what the past was actually like.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that everyone is looking for a place to find comfort. And so as life changes, if you're in an uncomfortable place, you look back and you can find that. I think we're always searching for answers too. The reason so many of us love history is because we're trying to learn from mistakes of the past. We're trying to learn how to be better, and obviously it's still a struggle. So I think that's why I love history. And because it's just, especially decades before we were born, it's just so fascinating to see, like, wow, it's mysterious and it seems magical. I love to think that I would be a great pioneer or like a great person who lived before.
How many times have you camped, dear?
Well, so we think, oh yeah, I'll read a book or I'll watch a show that's back before. Like, I'd love to think that I'd be awesome at churning my own butter and but if you...
Sorry.
Yes, you can laugh.
I'm gonna laugh
because I don't like to be dirty, but I am going outside more. I just don't tend to camp.
At least to the car.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Oh, we did, thinking about churning, we did our little home church did a activity out on a farm about a month ago.
Oh, yeah, the apple pressing.
Yeah,
that was
Aslan's
really cool.
How. You should check that place out. It's awesome. Aharon is a really great dude. But they did this, the apple press.
Yeah, that was
so
really cool.
so much fun. And
Yeah.
it took a lot of time. But
It does.
the
It takes
apple
time.
juice was the best apple juice I've ever had in my life. So it was super good.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. So maybe when glampaneering comes in, like where, it's, pioneering with air conditioning and, and a working toilet and...
Well, because we are created for adventure and exploration and all that stuff. But then so that's like part of humanity. But then the pain and the discomfort of our humanity sets in too.
Yeah.
So it's very, that's why it's fun to watch other people do it on TV or in a book. Because they do it and you can sort of experience it, but it doesn't cost you anything to do it. So.
Yeah. Part of what I wonder, I know I get nostalgic when, like you said, when life doesn't feel like there's not a lot of certainty here, like in the present, or the future is looking bleak.
Yeah.
It's easy to go back to a time, and maybe one of the reasons why it looks good is because you went through it.
You survived it.
You survived it, and you know how it ends.
Oh, that's true. That's so good. Yes, that's great.
So it's like it's resolved. So you can
There's closure to the past, per se. For a lot of things, not everything.
It's almost like you can go, you can feel cozy. You know that
you're gonna
you like in my case, you know that Y2K is nothing and didn't happen. You just you know things worked out after that, and so maybe that's part of the reason why.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's that sense of control.
And oftentimes, I think that people come and go.
Yeah.
And so if there's people you love that have passed on, then, that's why I love watching stuff now about the 80s, because I think of my mom.
Yeah.
And so we can go back to a time when people we loved were there, and that brings us, their memory keeps it alive. But we have to be careful not to fantasize about what it was really like, and to paint people as flawless beings, because they're not. They're real people, or to demonize either. We tend to do one or the other. So, but this is hard stuff. But yeah, I really like that when you've survived it and you have that kind of closure, you know how it turns out.
Right.
Yeah, that's very good.
Right. That's why people watch movies they've seen 1,000 times.
That's true.
It's why I get on spoiler alerts, because I have to emotionally be able to handle if something's not going to go the way I want. Maybe this is more about me. I don't know. But
it's when you leak to certain people. Oh, yeah. I'm like, did you get online to find out if this person dies in this episode? Why did you do that? Don't do that. Don't do that.
I have to know. So because I think nostalgia can be a good thing. I think there's things about every decade and every era that have goodness in them. When does it become, in your opinion, toxic? Because there can come a point where being so beer goggled about the past that it's not healthy, and it affects your present.
Well, especially if you're talking about different times and cultures, to try to put a culture of the 1600s, the 1500s, whatever, into a modern day culture doesn't necessarily work.
Right.
So if there might be some good things, but it doesn't work to apply a lot of the things of the past, practices and that kind of thing. It just doesn't fit anymore. I think if there's characters like goodness or generosity or kindness, those kind of things are timeless.
Mm-hmm.
But how women dress, for example,
Yeah.
doesn't hold up. Yeah. So there's just these kind of things, like cultural practices and norms are not necessarily healthy to continue after a certain period of time. Maybe because they weren't either.
Right.
But I think those character traits that are a value of certain cultures, that is worth carrying on.
Absolutely.
And looking, how did they go about that? How did that culture gain peace? Or how did that culture show love? So...
I think when you can't look back at what you romanticize with objective eyes,
Sure.
it becomes toxic. I think because let's be honest, all right?
Let's be honest.
Different races experienced America differently.
Sure, absolutely. And they still
in
do.
the 60s and
They
still do.
Right,
And
absolutely.
so when we acknowledge that there were things that we did that was wrong, that we did that were wrong, that can raise a defensiveness because it kind of pokes at whatever idealism we had or what our experience was. So I think that is where nostalgia can be toxic, when it keeps us from seeing the dark side of the era that we were in.
Yeah, because just because it was that experience for you does not mean that it was for other. Yeah,
absolutely
that's a very
not.
good point. Yeah, absolutely.
I think also when it is, especially if you were someone who lived at the same, like when you romanticize things to the point of where it's almost like you create a fantasy about who these people were, like whether it's romanticizing the past with your family, or it's romanticizing, the high school years. It's like, okay, I can look back on my high school years and know I had at least one existential crisis a day. In the 90s,
Well, there you go.
I was like, I struggled with feelings about my body image then. I struggled with being insecure about some of the things I struggle with now, I struggled with then.
Yeah, you're still still present in all of that.
I can't look back and say, oh, this was such the idyllic time, and no, there were things about it that were great, but there were things about it that were not so great, know? So, totally. I think that nostalgia is helpful in being able to love what was good about the past. So
that's good.
Yeah. So one of the things I want to challenge you in creatively, because how does nostalgia help creativity? I'm going to give you my opinion.
Let's hear it.
But I want to hear yours too.
Oh, well, I got to hear the question.
How does nostalgia and how can it positively influence creativity?
Yes.
I think that one of the reasons why I love world music, one of the reasons why I love artists like Paul Simon and people that came before me, is because I like figuring out how can I take what was good about the genres of the past and blend them into what's good now. Like being able to take something that is retro or nostalgic and bring it in it's very life-giving, and it creates a whole new form of art. So highly recommend, listen to Graceland, that's from the 80s. Listen to Peter Gabriel's, I think the name is So. Those are awesome albums that remind me of the 80s. They remind me of when music videos were really cool. Not to say that they're not cool now, but let's be honest, they were really cool back in the 80s.
Some of them were.
Some of them
were disturbing.
Pink Floyd's The Wall is a very interesting video. But I think it can help bring it can bring pause.
Are you planning to cut this out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. It can help, I think bridging things from the past with what you're currently doing can help create something unique and new. So I enjoy that.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I like to write a lot of stories set in other times. I like to watch or read historical fiction. So I really enjoy that. I like taking old pieces of art and stuff and transforming them into something new. And yeah, I love reading books by people who have passed away. And it's interesting how not much has changed.
Right.
So it helps to see
Humans still exist.
Humans still exist, and humans still need grace and hope and mercy, and so, yeah, I think that's good, and I think it's what's really funny too. I like doing is going back to something I've either written or made like years ago. I'll find something like, oh, sometimes it really sucks. Sometimes I don't even remember making it. And so it's kind of fun to like take it like, okay, can I still use this or not? And so, yeah, I'm all about fusion of things.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, we're both about fusion. We like fusion quite a bit. And it's all
Fusion spelled with a PH. You know?
Stick your fanny in some fusion.
You're welcome.
Wow, that was great. And it's almost like when you make things, when you use nostalgia and creativity, it's almost like time traveling.
Oh, yeah.
If you think about it.
It is, you're right.
You know, whether you're using a methodology
very
from the
good,
past, or you're reading a book from the past, or listening to a song from the past, you're putting yourself in a time period that you can't go back and, like, you can't just make appear, but you can go visit it. So maybe maybe one of the prompts is to go listen to some records from your favorite era and really just enjoy what was good about it, acknowledge maybe what was hard about it, and journal about that experience. Yeah. You got any other prompts for?
If you have access to a vinyl record player, highly recommend listening to a vinyl. There's just for me, I can hear a difference in the way it sounds. Read a book from a decade maybe that you haven't read much about. There's a very interesting book called The Body Project that is a book tracing specifically the body image of girls and how over the last 100 years or so it changed in America, and when that kind of started and how it changed and how it evolved. So understanding how we got to where we're at can be very enlightening. So The Body Project, very, very fascinating book.
Yeah, CNN did a thing, a docuseries on different decades, like the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. So good. And it kind of goes through like the history of politics, the arts, major events that happened in those decades. And it's really, I thoroughly enjoyed watching those.
Or, Ken Burns' documentaries.
Yeah, Ken Burns.
PBS, so many awesome documentaries available. So maybe pick one of those and then maybe create something based on the documentary and what you learned. And
so the song that we're going to do is a song from the past.
Is it a fusion with a PH?
It's a fusion with a PH. Swing Low Sweet Chariot, which we've kind of put our own little modern spin on. So we're going to do that for you. Please keep creating. And maybe when we post this video, please put in the comment section what your favorite era was and why. And if you still have something from that era, take a picture of it and share it in the comment section. So we will be back with a new episode, and we'll see you soon.
Get your journaling worksheet on Patreon.
Yes.
Free.
So, funny thing, we are on the road playing music, living the absolute dream, having a blast. And the hotel we ended up staying in ended up having musical instruments. It was like it was meant to be. So we're going to do this song. I'm going to do this song just live for you to enjoy. So enjoy. Here it is, Swing Low.
swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, oh, what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels coming for me, coming for to carry me, coming for to carry me, coming for to carry. Swing low, swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down, coming for to carry me home. But still my soul is heaven bound, coming for to carry me, coming for to carry me, coming for to carry. Swing low, oh, swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot.